Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Roach Wiggle on the blurst day of February 29th, 2024. Been yet another busy week. I have a special shirt on. I'm gonna try and get a screen cap of this. This is my Christmas gift from Uncle Fengus. If at first you don't succeed, try doing what Bob told you to do the first time. Perhaps primarily in reference to the keeping Aaron and Vega Boliana from, how do you pronounce it? I'm finding it. Where are you guys? Bernie, Texas. I'm gonna get a quick screen cap of this. There we are. Perfect. Gonna forward for posterity's sake. Here we are. We got Zen Monkey, Aquarimax, A Person, Exotic Wilderness, Devin, Anthony Green. Welcome, everybody. This is because it is a special blurst day. This will be a giveaway stream day. So everybody keep that in mind. So let's see. Orders of business to discuss. We got the first of hello, Orang Mango and Bahijajur. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. First, most important order of business is I look outside and I can still see light. The sun is just barely set, so we're almost to spring. It was like 65 degrees the other day. It's going to be like 70 over the weekend, so spring is coming pretty hard here already. The first of the February auction stuff has gone out this week. Just some things that were on people's already pending orders. And the bulk of stuff will be going out next week. I've gotten some good car news. I'm not sure if I brought this up before. I know I brought up the car. I know I complained about the car situation before, but I found out that I will be able to get the car fixed. The car will be at the dealers for an indeterminate amount of time, 1 to 4 months. However, the engine replacement will be free because of the mileage that's on my car. So that's a huge relief. Still annoying. I'm not going to have a car for some period of time unless they give me a loan or something. I won't have a consistent means of getting around. But that's good news. So hello, John Doe. I don't know if I've seen you here before. If not, welcome. Let's see any other orders of business for stuff to discuss or talk about. I've been doing some maple syruping. There's a lot of black maples at Angela's place, and so I put some taps in, and she was very surprised at how easy the whole process is to just tap the trees, and two, now she's really excited over the sap. How did Angela tell you about the tornado? It was 3 miles away from my home, EF2. I was actually there. Her birthday was yesterday, and I spent the night with her, so I was actually there out in Holly when the bad weather came through, and basically from like 11 p.m. to like 4 in the morning, it was just nothing but lightning and just constantly. So I'm glad you're safe. I hope everybody else who lives out that way is safe. The house is pretty sturdy. I was actually surprised. I mean, you could hear the rain just coming down, the lightning, all that stuff. I was surprised at how safe I kind of felt inside, and we did lose power too. It came back on shortly afterwards, but it was pretty pretty scary in a way. Hello, Satchel. Good to see you. I'm eating my dinner. Some rolls from the local Italian store that Angela loves to go to, being a half-blooded Italian. I think if you do the numbers, she's not even half Italian, but don't tell her that. Let's see other things to address. Anybody have any interesting finds this week? Any questions about anything while I think about what I was going to bring up, because this last week has just slipped by. Exotic Wilderness found some wild slime mold. That is exciting. I've had the dog vomit slime mold showing up in a couple of bins. I think that stuff actually eats like springtails. Satchel found some snails. Satchel, I remember you talking about how you got like 8 snails and they might all be completely separate genre. It's nuts how how understudied and underappreciated North American snail biodiversity is, terrestrial snails. Don't mind me, I'm trying to get my calories and my hydration in as much as I can. Springtails eat it, says John Doe. My zygentoma I collected reproduced orang mango zygentoma. I can't remember where you had collected some. That reminds me. Big W's in the zygentoma department. I found babies in like second or third instars in the Tenolopisma lineatum enclosure. So they're breeding. My first time breeding the species since probably 2008 or 2009. The species Israel is doing fine. I'm expecting babies any day now from Ciliatum. I think it's just a matter of time. And pending getting Stylifera, since that situation seems to be a little bit up in the air as to when I may be receiving some. Pending receiving those, I'm actually going to move the weird unidentified rodent burrow silverfish from Las Cruces into the Stylifera enclosure. I have had the Las Cruces silverfish going for since August 2022. They just kind of they pop out some babies in the spring. I assume it's, as with many zygentoma, it's air humidity related, and I want to get them actually going very strongly. I think, considering how many I found in the wild, they have the possibility to reproduce very, very strongly, and so I'm gonna put them in the Stylifera enclosure, and when the Stylifera eventually find their way here, I'll just make another enclosure, and we're going to see how many of the very limited number of silverfish in the United States I can get going. I actually think it's not going to be that difficult. It seems like all of them have very similar care, and I think along the way probably discover some undescribed stuff like those Allocritelsa. I don't know how the ones from all the way in Utah could be the same species as the ones you find in trees in Alabama, dead standing trees in Alabama. So let's see, there's that. Look around and see. I'm going to try some new springtail enclosures pretty soon. I've cobbled together some knowledge from a couple of springtail keepers about perhaps some ways to optimize setups. My problem is there's about 3 or 4 species of predatory mite in all of my house, and one of them ignores springtails, and there's another much more aggressive one that seems to really go after a lot of softer springtails. Don't seem to predate as much on the super scaly ones, like the Lepidostridus seem pretty safe from them, and so I'm going to be trying some new setups with the goal of excluding those, that particularly aggressive strain or species. Again, I am mite ID is completely beyond my capability outside of, okay, this has a snout, it's family Bedelidae, and of course grain mites are pretty obvious, and hisser mites too. I have evil predator mites and my tiny leps seem fine. Yeah, I think they have some adaptations that maybe stop them from getting predated. I think Fulsomia have that too, and Euchaeonera might have that as well. Orang mangoes. I also found some small black earwigs while I was in St. George. I couldn't find any good reference for identification. Maybe you can help me. You're always welcome to send some images, and I will hope that maybe you found labia minor. That would be pretty cool. Speaking of earwigs, there's never mind. Was really seeing the flicker rate on the LED over there. I don't know what's causing that. Maybe something to do with the wiring to that light. Anyways, so the thing about getting rove beetle culture started, that's not a bad idea. There's 2 species of rove beetles I've seen going around in enclosures now. There's the CF Delodia coriaria. I have sent specimens of that off for ID. I think it's gonna be a little while before I hear back from the person. I think he's pretty stressed, and I also sent him a ton of stuff to ID. So we'll just, it'll happen eventually. He'll send me a big text probably a month from now and say, "Hey, sorry I didn't get back to you. I've been busy. Here's all the IDs for all the stuff you sent." And then there's another one I think might be part of that genus. That's a springtail specialist. I can't remember what that genus is, but they have like the special jaw that like whips out and grabs stuff. And I've seen those in a couple of enclosures and at good enough density that I'm like, yeah, these are probably breeding in here. So that's cool. Alan wishes he could find labia minor, me as well. John Doe says, I have a crazy white mite that is super fast in one of my bins and it ate all the Fulsomia, led to a thriving colony of Spintherinus bimaculatus. Yeah, there's those weird ones before I was sterilizing a lot of wood material, that weird mite thing. I might be one of those weird things that's like actually more of a spider relative. There's some weird basal arachnids. They're very fast moving. And I have had those get into enclosures in the past, again, not recently. So a person says, someone offered me a ton of tiny lithobiomorphs that I may try unleashing upon my mites. Yeah, you start playing the old lady who swallowed the fly. I'm going to look up the pictures. Orang Mango, did you send them via email or via text? Oh, text. Okay. Almost looks like a Euborrelia. It's got striped legs, so it might be a Euborrelia. So that's nifty. Won't say no to that. Yes, that's labia minor are very tiny and still on my want list. John Doe says they're a little longer for a mite and they stay in small numbers but very effective hunters. It might be that weird like basal spider thing. I have to look into it. At the moment I just do not simply have the time, unfortunately, to look into those kinds of things. I don't know how, but the expo snuck up on me again. It's next weekend, and fortunately, Will's going to come over and work tomorrow. I'm very thankful for that. Paralabella curvicauda. Let's check those out. Alan is definitely far more versed in some of this stuff. Ooh, I like those. I like those a lot. I mean, there's all kinds of earwigs all over the place. We will slowly accrue good numbers of them in captivity. I think we're good right now. We're eating good with two species of Euborrelia and Denissolabus and Morava arachidus. We should be thankful. Let's see anything else going on with on the bug front in general. I did get a lot of stuff in last week. It was a bit overwhelming, but I'm getting on top of things. With Will here, things are gonna go. It's gonna go quite well. It's gonna be a good work day tomorrow. Saturday, I'm redoing my whole. Or not redoing. Me and the supplies to redo my whole yard. I'm probably gonna clean my garage, and then I'm gonna get a bunch of cattle panels and T-posts and stuff to fence off some of my beds that the dogs have been getting into, and also to make a pen for the goats, the goat kids that I'm getting in May or June. So it's going to be a busy time here, and I've been talking to Mr. Snyder about the website. We did do some work last week as it pertains to making the site easily updatable by me in the case that Mr. Sniper has to flee to Mexico or similar situation. And I am really hoping, and I'm with the Florida trip not happening, that gives me the divine intervention needed to put like a couple solid days worth of work into the site, getting flavor text written, getting the last of the text for the pages written, and then it's really all on Chris's part. The pictures thing is going to be a whole other thing. That's going to be a whole other ordeal, and we're going to worry about that when we come to it. But as long as the infrastructure is there, that's good. So, oh yeah, that's right. Alan has Morava pulcala too for earwigs. So, anyways, I'm hoping for an April release of the site, but at this point, I'm just kind of like everything is happening everywhere and all the time, and the site is just going to get done when it gets done, and that's all I'm hoping. Hablo in poco español, says Zen Monkey. Blue-winged rove beetle, Phyllanthus cerulopinus are on my hit list this year for rove beetles. I've actually caught those before, and I've gotten eggs out of them. Feeding, I caught a female, and I was feeding it just like torn up dead roaches, and I don't know if the eggs were infertile. I can't remember actually if maybe I kept a bunch of eggs together and only got one larvae that ate all the other eggs. But I did not successfully get those rove beetles breeding. But it's high humidity, rotate the female between enclosures, try to raise the larvae individually is my advice for working with that species. Not difficult for just getting eggs out of if you wild collect adults. That's my professional opinion. Let's see, other bug stuff. The Eleotes acuta larvae that Alan gave me. Alan, I think I'm down to 6. I need to actually just dump out the whole thing. I went digging around and found 6. Those look like what I was finding on a dead dog. Ugh. That's so unpleasant. I just found them in leaf litter before, but they may be one of those species that pops up on carrion, like some of the other a lot of rove beetles like carrion. There's just so many fly larvae that they have a buffet. So I think a lot of them are just naturally drawn to carrion because it's free food. It's infinite buffet basically. Meringue Mango asking about any more Psychotidae. I think right for the moment I'm capped at Clogmia, Cetomima, Lepiciodina, and Psychota. Did I say Psychota already? Clogmia and Psychota. I'm kind of capped at those. I always love me a good tree hole. I always go looking for stuff when I find one. Always looking for more sewer fairies wherever I go, but it's not really a focus. I kind of have to dial back some of the more wild and crazy everywhere enthusiasm until the moving situation gets figured out. And also, just for the moment, I'm very, very maxed out for patience and for space, and I'm still got a little bit of space. I mean, this whole rack will open up if I figure out a different way to keep springtails. This whole rack will become a valid option for all kinds of stuff, but for the moment it's a bit vacant. It is getting very crowded in here. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So let's see, any other projects that are going on that I can think of? Nothing sticks out. I mean, there's just selective breeding projects that are happening. Sample a bunch of millipedes. I'm checking on just sort of general arachnid stuff pretty soon. For millipedes, I just moved the auburn millipedes into a smaller enclosure. I'm gonna pick the suit armadillo, whatever I can find out of the A-gigas bin they're currently communally housed with, and get them into their own smaller breeding setup, because I went to pack some up. I think it was yesterday, and like they wedged them in the bark and what I have in there. They wedged themselves into it with their spines pointing outwards, and I tried to grab one to pack up by the spines, and the spine snapped off. And I don't know if that will kill the individual or not, but so yeah, I need to get them in an easier enclosure for packaging. So I'm just going to check the enclosure basically at night when they come out more, and just start picking them out of there and putting them into the new setup. Thursday Roach Wiggle is the equivalent of me going to church. It's nice to have something to look forward to every week, something nice and stable. Exotic Wildernesses this summer. I'm going to be getting some new grain pest species. I don't think anyone has culture, so hoping that will go well. There's a grain pest, Oren has wanted it for a long time, that has, the males have like stag beetle mandibles. It's some sort of grain pest beetle species. So if you're getting that, I think a lot of people would like those. But But Devin from here has found what I believe to be Tribolium, was it castaneum, which I haven't kept in a long time. The red flower beetles. I have a good colony of confused flower beetles, but I would like to get the reds. And there's a couple of grain pests that TJ's got that I'm going to get from him to round out my just my cultures, as I'm always doing. It's grain pests. It's just another container filled with dog food or something. Our Kyle Horton Bug Room, Crazy Bug Dude be thy name. Wasn't there somebody named Crazy Bug Dude who would come through here occasionally? Yes, Devin says the pet store gave me an entire bucket of infested ferret food, which is obviously what I love to hear. But Natocerus cornutus. Let's see if that's the... Alan might have posted that. Yeah, that's it. Natocerus cornutus, the broad-horned flower beetle, is a common species of beetle in the Tenebrionidae family. This would be great because you know what some absolute mad lads will do with this already sexually dimorphic grain pest species is we will breed it for bigger mandibles. We will create a hobby strain that has like stag beetle mandibles. I am absolutely sure of that. I'm going to see if there's records on iNaturalist. It's one of those things you just have to kind of get lucky finding, I would imagine. But let's see. 19 observations. Let's check the map. None in North America. This is so sad. Some in France. Yeah, this would be really cool. What are these records from on Bug Guide on? This is a specimen from Australia with just a placeholder image. Another specimen from Australia. Here's one from Bass Lake, Madera County, California, from January 1st, 1959. So, Father Kyle and the Choir of Nymphs. There's genus level in the U.S. Yeah, again, it looks like there's other species of Natocerus apparently. Slenderhorn, Broadhorn, Guatemalensis. It seems you just have to get lucky and get stock from somewhere. Again, I think this broadhorn flower beetle's got the largest mandibles. It looks like, so that'd be really cool. It'll be the extinct Irish elk of the insect world. I love that. So there's a grain pest projects going to be coming up on a new generation of crap. I didn't get a good screen. The print screen thing didn't go. I gotta show this off again for posterity. Thank you, Uncle Fungus, for helping with the there we go. For helping with the Booleana husbandry determination. Gotta paste this bad boy in there. All right. Let's see, any other projects? Is there projects coming due maybe? Take a look around here. Yeah, main thing tomorrow is going to be the. I'm not going to be setting up any springtails, but I'm going to be making the new enclosures and trying them out. We have, thanks to two people who frequent this chat, we have Rin's Ceratophycella species. I need to look at the text for what he decided on finally calling them, because he was like, well, I was calling them yellow albino, and that's not, we need to preserve the species identification information plus the strain names and whatnot for things. So I can't remember what Rin decided on calling the strain, but so it's those yellow little peduromorph springtails. I don't think he's calling them yellow albino. I think it's species lilac, yellow for the cultivar. And then out of those, I think it was Devin, out of the yellows, I think, Devin, that you refined the whites. So now we have species lilac, white, I think. Saying the white that yeah, you did send me those. They're doing well. And, I would love to I would love to do some attention seeking behavior of making a nice mixed colony with like 5 different colorful springtails in it and getting some pictures or videos of that up, which I will do eventually. Little cornucopia of forbidden invertebrate snacks, which I'll do it eventually. But first and foremost, I need to get all those cultures going. And the unfortunate thing is that the original species lilac culture throws yellows, which is fine, but I want them to be all blue. So I need to actually do some breeding for just the blues and like call the yellow out of them. Make sure you mix both orange springtails and culture, the Neonura and the Yukianura. Yeah, I failed with the Neonura that I collected. I'm pretty sure they were Neonura in my front yard, and so when I think Rin sent me a culture of those, I was like, all right, I'm going to screw these up, so I'll just throw them in with something else. So I threw them in one of my millipede cultures, and of course they immediately like infested it. So I got to go through, pick those out of there, and then get them back into their own individual culture. But hey, this whole rack here, if the new style of keeping things works to exclude that one particularly vicious predatory mite, I could have plenty of space here to really bulk out the springtail collection, and there are some that I would really like to acquire over the summer. It's an easy thing, especially with a standardized setup. So your front yard Neonura might have been slime specialists like the rest of the genus. I didn't know the other members of Neonura were slime mold specialists. However, they were in mycelium-rich material. It wasn't really slime. Not really an area I see slime molds. It's a very rich mycelium area. It's actually where I store a lot of my my leaf mix in the front yard under a cloth sheet so that rainwater gets in and gets all kinds of stuff that really colonizes that out in the front. And I was collecting some to sterilize, and I saw an orange springtail. Was like, neurons activated, and I had to go and pick through for more of them. They were not very common out there. Satchel saw some cool springs last week, and I can't really bring myself to actually try to keep them. Maybe if this new setup thing that I'm working on proves effective, it will make springtails much more approachable to many people, because a lot of people want them, and a lot of the peduromorphs are easy to keep in clay setups. But the big ones and some of the big colorful ones really don't like those setups. And so getting an enclosure container that works for all of them, and then just saying, oh, use clay for these species and use this for these other species, make them very very appealing. Ben Groover has Neonura persimilis and Vitronura giseli going. Okay. I'm curious what they're being fed on. I guess I'll have to ask. I'll have to ask Ben when I next contact, because Ben's also who I got the. Why is the Latin escaping me right now? The thread-legged assassin bugs. The genus or the species name is like Brevipinus. I'm gonna say Brevipinus. Ben has been breeding those with very good results. Sent me some. They are very delicate, and I don't like that. Delicate for shipping, at least. In the enclosure, they've been really good. They just eat fruit flies. It seems all life stages will eat fruit flies, and so that's another great thing to add to the list of stuff that just eats fruit flies. He has some 3D printed slime holders. It's really cool. It's like a custom slime. Everybody's talking this up like it's the coolest thing. It does sound pretty cool. The only problem is I don't necessarily want to be on the hook for providing slime mold 24/7, 365. Maybe not yet, at least. Maybe when I can generate the dog vomit slime mold permanently in like a lightless box at the future facility, and also not let it spread into other enclosures, I'll go ahead and do that. Life goals here. So Let me think. I upgraded some Aranavega. This area right here is finally like a solid blob. There's just a couple of holdouts for things that I need to upgrade eventually when their colonies start doing better. It's just two other localities of Pseudoglomerus magnifica that are hopefully will start getting going. They were generous gifts from a friend, very generous gifts from a friend, and we'll see if they take off like the Kook Fuongs did. But yeah, and then that whole shelf is just completely full from top to bottom. Basically, I don't know if I could, maybe if I rearrange the shelves a little more, I could get a little more space, but probably not. Next time I get some bugs from you, do you think I could get a few samples of the dog vomit slime? Yes, remind me, and I'll have to look and see if there's any of it creeping around an enclosure, or if I can find any that have the dormant phase. Some of my cloth lids have the dormant phase like stuck to it. It seems to go upwards, then it goes dormant up there, or I guess dies, because I remember watching the Zay Frank video on that, and it's weird, man. Life is really weird. I saw an Aranavega locality at Zion's National Center, debating on heading down to the area to try my luck. Always worth your luck to try and find more Aranavega. And on that note, also, there were two people who were near that other locality of Venezillo that I would like to try, the Venezillo Arizonicus, or maybe Cubaris benetensis locality that's in like California. But anyways, yeah, let me think of what else is going on in here. I don't think I did this last week. I finally pulled my best pair of yellow Gyna for the recreation project for the original yellow. I've noticed from the other ones that came out of the females from Satchel, that there is variation in the amount of the intensity and the type of yellow that they have. And so I have just a general unrefined bin down over here to just sort of, okay, keep the genes churning, see what gets produced over time, etc. And then I have my final, okay, this is the color that I selected for originally. We're going to just recreate the line with this. So I separated a pair for that. And I also did some more selection for the blue Panchlora CF Nivea from the from Little Manatee in Florida. This is the F2 selecting for the blue. There's more individuals with more bluish. It's still presenting more teal, which would be fine too if I got that isolated. But I picked, I think, 3 males and 3 females that had the best intensity. They're all a couple weeks into adulthood, so it's not like I'm seeing like, oh, this is the freshly molted color. It's like, no, these have matured and they're sclerotized, etc. So this is more representative of their actual coloration and not just an artifact of being fresher or something like that. They're all eating the same thing too. So hopefully start getting some more intense individuals in the next generation. With the males, I was kind of splitting hairs to find the bluest, which is kind of surprising because in that picture, that I believe that was a male individual that had that really intense coloration. So now the females it was a much easier to tell which females had more of it. I looked mostly down the center of the back, and then at the intensity in the joints when I was viewing them from underneath. So now we keep our fingers crossed and we see what happens. We hope that next generation will be that this is a sort of multi-gene breed 4 thing. Next generation will be bluer and then bluer and bluer, and then maybe around the F10 we'll have a very decidedly blue Panchlora, similar to that other genus or that other species that's just like actual sky blue that you can find if you look up blue cockroach on Google. So we'll see how long it takes to get there. And if we even get there in at all, but I am a very firm believer that if you see a trait in one species, that you can, with enough time, breed for that trait in a related species, with my evidence mostly being in isopods, how people are, I think, over in Europe now breeding for, this is gonna screw everything up. This is gonna make things even worse. But thus it shall be. That they're breeding for rubber ducky lookalikes in actual Cubaris murina, so not the USDA APHIS meme of, oh, the rubber duckies are a mutant of murina and not their own species or whatever. The whole thing with the whole drama with that. But like, people are actually going to have murina that have a rubber ducky phenotype and call them rubber duckies, and we will inevitably end up at the point where people are like, well, I was sold these as rubber duckies, but they don't look like they're as big as the ones in the pictures. I remember when I had those, back around 2019, and they were twice the size of the ones they got now. And everyone, well, there's two different species and blah, 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 and you know, all that. All the what the stuff. So blue panchlora projects underway. And other pisser breeding projects are going pretty well. Anything else that's supposed to be hatching out, etc. Again, any probably by April, Tripoxylus will start maturing an actual sizable generation for me of the Japanese Kabuto Mushi beetle. And I can maybe engage in some festivities with friends, with them perhaps. Hoping my Dorcas titanus palawanicus females, which I co-housed with the male for multiple weeks. I think the problem with people having the male kill females is that the males are very hissy. They're anything agitates them. And so if you put them in with the female and you're disturbing them, they could just turn around and kill the female. They'll go for your finger. They'll go for the female. They'll go for whatever. But if you put them in a big enclosure and you leave them alone, and the female is able to approach the male or vice versa in a more natural way, in a larger setting where they can get away from each other easily, they have logs, whatever, that they can, cling to and move at each other at a slow pace, whatever. Something is going on that's different in a larger enclosure. You can commingle them and co-house them for extended periods of time, with my direct evidence being the last month and a half or 2 months that I've had the Palawanicus females in with the male. Now, we'll see eventually if they've been actually confirming if the male's been breeding the females, but there's torn up substrate at the bottom of the bins that I put them into, so I'm pretty sure that they've been laying. So that's good. And then another round of Castana color babies, hopefully. I'm just really looking forward to being able to generate all of these different substrates and supplies for bugs on a larger scale, where I don't have to be like, oh, sorry guys, I don't have enough of this right now. I got to save up, my own stuff. Because you can go through so much material with some of these beetles, especially. Anthony Green suggests setting up a candlelit dinner on a nice wood log, light some incense and some good music, let the stag magic happen. I should be so lucky, I would hope. Any other stag beetle news? Any other generalized beetle news? Not necessarily. Still waiting on Pacnotus savignii to mature. I feel like hopefully by April that will happen. But in general, a lot of good news for a lot of my cultures of stuff. Some not the best news. My Epistoplatia are still kind of piddling along and not really having babies, so that's frustrating. Who else is kind of doing that? Rhabdoblata rustica had some babies, so there's hope there. Epilampra kind of in a bit of a slump too, which sucks because I'll have to go ask Auburn for some Arcadia locality stuff. If I don't want to just have a random stock of that. I want to have the original stock that I collected and apparently have failed with a couple times. Let's see, other stuff. Uticella, blah blah blah, pseudo-warmani, some nominudum are doing well. I have quite a few larvae in there. It's my first time working with the genus, so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to expect a bunch of larvae all at once or if it's going to be kind of a trickle, kind of like Dichronorhina. This generation, Dichronorhina derbiana, has been taking some time for me. I have been getting a little impatient waiting for results from them. But I've also been playing around with different substrates, and I kind of feel like maybe I should stop doing that for some things. My head, I'm just sort of going through my enclosures of stuff and thinking what's doing what and where. Yeah, it's just getting through the late winter blues and trying to stay on top of stuff as we race at breakneck speed to spring, and as the likelihood of a move this summer grows ever closer, uh, just sort of getting myself ready for that and all that's going to entail. Millipedes are like substrate destroyers. I got people with a bunch manage. Oh, Alan, I finally got vampire crabs. Oh, that's cool. Which species or whatever. I'll turn my eyes to vampire crabs. What I want to do with that, from talking with Oren about it, is get like a big, like how do I say that? A big, great value bioactive tank going. Like get it ready like 6 months ahead of time and dump like a bunch of Nocticola and Compsodies and like rather innocuous isopods in there, and just sort of get like this whole thing ready, with like fast growing, cheap live plants and whatnot, and just kind of then just add a bunch of crabs, just kind of have it all just waiting and ready to go, and make it so they're capable of taking care of themselves pretty well in there without my intervention to a point. That's basically what you had going, yeah. Um, Anthony Green says, my Sculpturata I received from you in 2020 have gone through about 4 gens, and I've reached my last females. Hopefully they predators, but I don't think they are. That's unfortunate. Sculpturata is currently my Gyna that's not doing well. We've discussed the Gyna curse. There's always one that is not doing well for me, and right now that is Sculpturata because the yellows have been rebounding and doing well, and so except that you had a salamander in the great value bioactive, and you had to evict it to make room for the crabs. That's reasonable. Yeah, but for me, again, that stuff takes space. It's also what I want to do with some fish. There's some fish projects I just want to kind of have going in the background before the Amazon Stingray project. That's going to be a whole other thing. That's probably like a Kyle midlife crisis is probably what that's going to be part of, but I look forward to it. But yeah, so I'll have probably a rack devoted to some stuff like that, and just get some big old 40-gallon vivs planted and really established, and then introduce the crabs and let it go from there. And I think that I'll have some good success with that. That way also it's like if I put out, I can pre-kill some roaches and put them on a little dish in there, and the crabs can come out and eat them. Or if the crabs don't eat them, the isopods of the roaches will eat them, and I don't have to worry about picking them out and all this other stuff. King of DIY for freshwater stingrays, though he just lost a couple. Who? Zen Monkey? Oh, did you try to link to something? Maybe that might be part of the problem. I got to figure out what the ones that I saw at the Georgia Aquarium, what name for that locality or whatever is. I really like the ones that look like just a very geometric pattern on a black background. The big ones with the huge white spots are nice. I think maybe people. King of DIY. Okay, that's the person. Yeah, I have some plans for what I want to do for that. It's very space intensive. It's very easy to do, but very space intensive. And if it doesn't work for stingrays, I'll end up doing something else with the space. So I'm not too worried about it. Anthony Green sent about 60 tessellata to a friend in New York. Hopefully, the Archimandria situation of different species slowly works itself out to clear up confusion. Yeah, the big problem is going to be, again, I think that Marmorata is the species we've had all along, and tessellata is the new species. Again, the same person who's doing the identification for the roe beetles and some grain pests that I sent is the person who's going to be doing the dissecting for the Archimandrita. But from the holotype specimens that I saw, or not holotype specimens, I think I saw the documents outlining the differences between tessellata and Marmorata. I saw pictures of specimens at a university collection distinctly sorted into tessellata and Marmorata. The shorter, darker entity, which resembles what we already have reliably in culture, was labeled Marmorata. The bigger, longer entity that resembles what the last 5 years or whatever Panama City started being traded around looks like tessellata. I would not be surprised. I will not be surprised. I've had flights of fancy since maybe 2012 or 13 about like, hey, this picture of Marmorata in this publication looks a lot like our tessellata, but I trusted old Roach Hobby to at least have that one down. There's only 2 species in the genus, and a lot of that stock came from like U.S. laboratories before it was crazy improper identification and whatnot. So I figured, okay, well, I shouldn't doubt this. It's one of those things that should be relatively set in stone, and now it's looking like that was kind of not the best decision to go around making. So that'll be a huge upset if that is the case, because again, we've been selling tessellata for decades now, and to have that all be flipped on its head with strong evidence, and when you also get the other species in the culture, is going to be a whole big thing. I should have looked at tarantula keeping and saw that this would happen, because that's been the last 30 years or whatever, tarantula keeping, all the flipping of nomenclature and stuff. And, well, I got those in the 80s labeled as this and blah, blah, blah. Hello, Zero Cool Ninja 88. Good to see ya. I'm trying to think of something I should give away. We're at the giveaway. This is a giveaway. The cursed date of the 29th. I got a lot of Masola hissers. I was just kind of humble bragging, not really humble bragging, just bragging straight to TJ earlier about how many Masola hissers I have right now. So let's do a giveaway of a dozen of those. Free shipping, free blah blah blah. It'll be shipped sometime before the end of the month of March. We'll do a giveaway for that. But I got to figure out something to ask. Only giveaway 29 counts. What's a good question to ask for this giveaway? On February the 29th, and not 29th, the 29th. Maybe if anybody here wants to suggest some categories, I'll think about that. Might give the suggester an edge. What is Chris Sniper's middle name? Cheeky. Good questions to ask that I haven't asked before, too, is another good is another thing I have to keep in mind. Where the original stock of something came from, that is really asking much of chat. I do want this to be a more generalized knowledge question. Maybe that's something I saw today. Maybe how many leap years has Kyle lived through? That involves me having to calculate that if I have to do that, and I want something I don't have to tabulate. Let me look around here, see if there's anything I can think of. I have one. I have a thought of one. And of course, I have to post it in the I don't have to post it in here. Do I usually post the questions in the chat? I can't remember. I have a question. I need to again. I need to figure this out. Again, I have a good one. Somebody will get this, I'm sure. Somebody here. I got to figure out how to word it though. That's always now I got a question. I got a question, but I got to figure out how to word it. All right. I'm going to type it out, and then I'm going to say it first to give people who are actually listening to the stream a good opportunity to respond first. I figure out how I'm wording it. I keep wanting to word it like a Jeopardy question, but I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, I have one answer in mind. You are willing. You are able to make a case for. If you have one that's better than the answer that I have in mind, you are able to make a case for your answer. But I have one in mind. And I will accept that as an instant winner if it's given first. But if you give another one, and I look at it and I say, okay, that's funny, then you are willing to defend that. But we're gonna go ahead with this one. I got to finish wording it here. I say alternative answers accepted with explanation. All right. So it's still February. It's still the month of Valentine's Day. So alternative answers are accepted with explanation. Again, I said that before. And the question is, what is the raunchiest genus name in terrestrial slugs? Is the question. There is one answer that I am looking for. But if you find one that's better that I didn't know about, we have a winner. Satchel is the winner. So close. A person Testacella is very close. I will accept that as another winner. Bonus winner, a person. Testacella or Testicella, maybe if you're going with the Italian. All right. Giveaway closed. Cole Senatori says, hey, Kyle, hope you're having a nice night. I've been collecting Massachusetts Vulgari for you. Thank you, Cole. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a state that I still need them from. All right. So, Satchel, obviously get in touch with me. A person also shoot me an email. Shoot me an email. And both of you, I'll both get a free colony of Masola hissers of 12 count of Gronfidorina portentosa Masola for your valiant efforts. Testacella, I will take too. That's fair. Vaginulus is still the top dog, but I will take Testacella. And either you knew that off the top of your head, or you did the work to find it, and I think that's worthy. Eric Matthews says, I seriously was going to guess that as a joke. It was the answer. I've just been so amused by that ever since I found out that the Florida leatherleafs, the Ladula floridana, were moved out of the genus Vaginulus. It's been a recurring intrusive thought. So I've looked at images of both within the past week. I gotta look up Testicella now. I gotta look up this. I learn myself something. Genus of small, medium to large predatory air-breathing land slugs. Hey, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. It's a predatory shelled slug too. The ear-shelled slug. Oh boy, is this one of those with the weird? Yeah, it's got a weird partial shell on part of it. Man, it's so when you live in the Midwest, it's so cut and dry. Are they introduced in parts of the U.S.? No. 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 They are. You gotta be kidding me. They're introduced in the U.S. No way. In the like Knoxville, Tennessee, Alabama area. No way. Testicella is introduced. Around, looks like there's multiple reports from around Knoxville. That is nuts. And I think maybe on the West Coast. Yeah, there's some reports on the West Coast as well. But still, no way. Yeah, in the Midwest, it's very our slugs and snails. Everything I've seen, it's very cut and dry. It's like shell, no shell. Those are your only options. One day we will have vaginalists in culture, I pray, along with all the other leather leaves. Again, whatever these ones I got from Coral Gables are doing fine in the new setup style. A person knows someone with two. Are they breeding? Do they eat other slugs? What's the dealio? They predate on worms and other slugs are mainly found underground. We know who must be contacted. I've never been particularly a mollusk guy, but these seem cool. Yeah, the pictures of them are very cursed. I have to say, they're very cursed because there's all these like the yellow ones. One there's the whole they got the whole predatory gastropod face thing going on with the really long tentacles. Like all of them are really exaggerated, which just feels weird to me. And then there's the icing on the cake is the fact that they just have their little. It looks like somebody's like gross toenail or fingernail slapped on the end of their body, and I don't appreciate that. I think they're really cool, but I can still be grossed out by a certain component of them, and that's definitely very off-putting. It just looks like a children's book, like the way they draw like a giant or like an ogre or something's toenails. It just looks like one of those is just slapped on the end of it. The person who has two Testicella is Circa. If you want to contact them, oh, the temptation. I think I probably will. This very so they look like a clam that overthrew its shell. I love the description, Cole. This is great. See, look, Satchel, you did win, but a person, you definitely brought a really good topic to the discussion tonight. Testicella or Testicella. Wow, what a weird thing. What a weird, just bizarre. Just why? Why just this little toenail on the back of its body? What is the purpose? Does it do they block? Is it like an like carabid beetle defense or something where they'll crawl into a hole or like a crag or something, and they'll block the end of the hole with the little sclerotized part? Is it like a calcium reserve? Is it maybe used in courtship or something? Grimdark Lemonade. I've never heard of anyone culturing Testicella, so we'll see if you or Circa have success with them. I'd imagine that giving them lots of food is probably very important with them. What every Elmo gets before leaving the factory. What's that, Eric Matthews? What every Elmo gets? The weird little toenails or something? Is a person apples, which out of context is a weird question. I'm not sure they'll have to respond at their comfort. So, but anyways, we've all learned something today. We've learned about Testicella and vaginalis. My vaginalis itch is a little scratched because I do have Ladula and the Bilocaulus, but perhaps one day. There was circa 2017 or 2018. There was an African genus of pancake slugs. I think it was an African genus in trade in the U.S. very sparingly. And I had an opportunity to buy the person's last colony of them, and I declined at the time, partially out of hesitation for legality reasons, but also I didn't want to spend the price, and I had not gotten a grip on breeding leather leafs at the time, and so I passed them up. But does anybody here know if those are even still around the U.S.? I'm just curious. I do kind of want them. I don't know how big they are compared to Legula or Bilocalis, but Legula can get pretty big. The ones I had from Ocala got that big at rest. And I'm holding up my fingers, and we're going to measure about 3 inches, about 75 millimeters. So, yeah, I do need to get. I don't know if these Coral Gable ones are actually Legula. They might be that the other. There's a couple introduced genre in Florida, and it seems kind of difficult to tell them all apart. But I've had them for long enough. I think they should have grown more. Is the bottom line. So we're coming up on an hour here, folks. I do have to go downstairs and finish feeding again my arachnids, some gastropods. Some of my expo inventory type stuff needs a good spraying and a good feeding. Again, the expo has once again snuck up on me. Somehow it's coming up next week, and I don't know how this happens. Time is an illusion. So, with that being said, everybody, I'm glad we had a good discussion today about Vaginulus and Testicella, and cell bugs now. That's my life nowadays. And you know what? We got it 1 week from now. We got another to fix the car. We got another wiggle coming up a week from now, and we're gonna put a date on. It's March. The spring auction is going to happen in April. We're going to get a date and a time on that spring bugapalooza, everybody. Probably even during the live stream next week, during the wiggle, we'll get a time and dates for the spring bugapalooza, and it will be all downhill from there. It's going to be insane. It's going to be insane. So, thank you everybody for joining. Congrats to our winners of the Gromphigurina portentosa massola with the Vaginulus and Testicella. And until next week, everybody, may your cultures ever be bountiful, and have a wonderful warming up evening.